dancing man who was, I think it's fair to say, fat-shamed online. Take us back to the beginning of that story, Sean, because you've had quite an adventure.
Yeah, quite an adventure. I was just out in a club or in a pub, just enjoying myself with a few friends, having a dance, having a good time, not causing any harm to anybody.
Yeah.
And a group of lads decided that they didn't like either me enjoying myself or the way I looked, and so started mocking me and ended up taking photographs, which I was unaware of, but then put it online and called me a specimen. So.
And how did that get back to you? When did you find out that this had happened?
I got an email I got a phone call and an email off a friend on 7:30 on a Friday morning, just to say I was all over the internet. But luckily enough, it wasn't the pictures that they were there. They showed me the pictures, but underneath was all the support from all these different girls from LA who wanted to throw me a party. So it was a very quickly turned positive for me. So
well, let's go through the positives and the party. You were then whisked off to LA by these women, and they were all trying to raise money for charity at the same time.
Yep.
And what happened, and who did you meet? Listen to this.
I went to. Started off by going on the Today Show. Carson Daly interviewed me. I had a little dance with Meghan Trainor.
Hang on, you had a little dance with Meghan Trainor?
Yeah.
On a stage outside in front of the audience, Go on.
Yeah, that was good. Then got whisked off to LA. Done several interviews on the Saturday. Monica Lewinsky, had an evening meal with her. Met Moby, done the disco at my party and really killed it.
Yeah, right.
Got a message
take Moby through your party. Pharrell Williams.
Yeah, he sent me a personal message, which was really good. Andrew WK made a speech on stage, and then I went for lunch with Dieter Von Teese on the Monday.
The burlesque superstar Dieter Von Teese had wined and dined with you.
Yeah, and then just the people of LA were lovely. The LA Dodgers let me throw the first pitch at a ball game, and the LA Coliseum gave me a picnic on the pitch, and it was just, the people were lovely. It was just a fantastic experience.
Would you say that this has almost been the time of your life?
Yeah, it's been the time of my life, yeah, without being corny, yeah. You can only dream of doing even one of them things. So to do 4 or 5 of them in the space of 4 days, it was quite remarkable, yeah.
I'd rather chat to you about what you talked about to Monica Lewinsky, but anyway, getting back to, that's between you and her. Getting back to what the overall experience, Sean, do you think you've actually been rewarded for what happened to you originally?
That's a tough. I think the girls have been rewarded, the ones who showed the support, and then they're the ones who deserve the reward. I think I've just been fortunate for that. For some people, my particular case seems to resonate with a lot of people.
Certainly did.
There's been a lot worse on the internet, and there'll be a lot worse again. But it seemed to strike a chord with so many people that I was the fortunate one to be able to go along with the ride, if you like.
As far as your health goes and who you are and what you look and feel like, are you going to change anything? Do you want to change anything?
Yeah, well, before this happened, because I've got diabetes type 2 and I've got asthma, so before this happened, I'd purchased an exercise bike and a running machine just to control my weight more than anything, rather than trying to put any more weight on. Because I've always been comfortable in who I am and what I am.
You're happy being a big guy.
Yeah, because I'm me, and what you see is what you get. And once you get past the superficial image of it, you'll find I'm quite a decent person. So, as hopefully LA have found out now.
Do you think people judge larger people? You've just said once people get past that. So do you think people have preconceptions about larger people?
Well, yeah, I mean, I got told in my early career that I'd only reach certain levels of seniority because of the way I looked and because of my image. So
really,
that made me a bit more determined to prove people wrong.
Can I ask you what you do? I mean, obviously, if you do,
I'm head of finance in a hotel company at the moment. But this was when I was just starting off, and I was just like an accounts clerk and an assistant manager type of thing.
But surely weight shouldn't come into that.
Well, I don't think weight should come into many things as long as you're comfortable in yourself and it doesn't affect your ability to perform the job, then it shouldn't come into it whatsoever. But I say just preconceived conceptions with people. So
this fat shaming, it seems to be catching on. Online, anything can catch on online these days, I suppose. But we are telling people about the head of Britain's most senior police officers said unfit and overweight police officers who repeatedly fail fitness tests have no place in the job. Do you think that kind of talk is helpful?
I don't think it helps whatsoever, because you're slagging your own. But if it affects their ability to do the job properly, then I think there's something that needs to be addressed there. As I say, if it doesn't affect the job, then it shouldn't make no difference whether they're overweight, underweight, one-legged, two-legged, three-legged, anything. If you can perform your job, you can perform your job, and that should be all that matters.
And the NHS head honcho Simon Stephen has said obesity is the new smoking. It had become the key battle for public health. Should we be tougher with our warnings? I'm not saying tough love in the way people fat shame is right, but perhaps, putting warnings on takeaway shops, I don't know, certain types of food labelling.
Again, I think we should look at the reasons as to why some people are obese, because sometimes it's medical rather than just abuse of eating food or the wrong living health style type of thing. But it's good to be aware of it. But I'm sure obesity has been around since the Middle Ages, if not before. If you look at all the pictures of the previous kings of England, they were all quite raunchy and porky fellas. So.
Yeah, a few cardinals and popes as well look quite beefy. Listen, Sean, absolute pleasure to chat. Go on, what did you chat to Monica Lewinsky about?
Nothing. Lovely. She was just how she's overcome kind of her cyberbullying, really, for the last 15 years or whatever. And she was a real sweetheart. She was so down to earth, and I don't know, quite admire her, really, the strength of character that she's turned around and produced. She was great.
Dita Von Teese? I'm not jealous or anything like.
We talked about tacos, believe it or not, and the early bird. That's her favourite food. We talked about tacos and the early bird.
Not tassels.
It was good. Yeah.
Brilliant, Sean. Absolute pleasure to chat to you again. Thanks very much for coming on BBC Newcastle, Sean.
Travel with us for the whole story and the latest updates.
BBC Newcastle, North East Travel.
BBC Newcastle is delighted to support the Chesterfield North East Comedy Festival 2015. 40 hilarious shows over 10 rib-tickling days featuring the likes of Ed Byrne, Jimmy Cricket and Chris Ramsey, along with our very own Alfie Joey and Sue Sweeney. It all kicks off this Friday with BBC Newcastle's The Great Big Quiz About Stuff, The Return. To catch one of these unique shows, simply go to www.chesterfield.co.uk.
BBC Newcastle, North East and proud.
So we're talking about weight, really, today until 10 o'clock this morning. We're asking if it's time to be upfront about piling on the pounds and face up to our muffin tops. Now, give us a call. We'll be able to get through 0191 232 6565. Looking at the British Medical Association website, just over a quarter of adults in England are obese, and 3 out of 10 children aged between 2 and 15 in England are obese or overweight. Now, those figures are startling, aren't they? For 2015, there's a huge difference between now and 25 years ago. Those numbers have grown hugely.
And so have we, it seems.
Definitely, yeah. Ron in Amble's called. He says the problem is these days it's acceptable for people to laze around on the sofa instead of being out and about and becoming active. What are your thoughts? 0191 232 6565. Let's grab a word with Fatima Parker. Good morning.
Good morning.
Size acceptance campaigner.
Yes, Gillian, I am.
Listening to what we're saying.
Body positive as well.
What we're saying this morning, how do you feel about that? It's time to have a discussion about muffin tops and get out there and get ourselves sorted out.
It's time to have a discussion again and again and to the millionth time. It is. You see, what we need to do is to concentrate on helping people, our loved ones, instead of telling them, "Listen, you're fat." We have to make sure that we are telling them if we see that they're not leading a healthy lifestyle, like they're lazying about and eating the wrong foods. We educate them by example and help them to get healthy instead of push them and shame them to lose weight. That's where the problem has been for decades, is getting people to lose weight and blaming everything on obesity and on weight. And obesity, of course, is a disease that we do not accept all the time to be called obese, because not all fat people are diseased. So what we need to do is to change the language and to try and get people to think more of a healthy lifestyle instead of weight loss.
So what would you say instead, if we've got somebody who has, they weigh, 20 stones.
Right.
They're 5 foot 4 inches tall. This person, this lady is having difficulty running up the stairs because she's out of puff, because she's carrying a lot of extra weight. How would you encourage somebody without saying, we need to get rid of these pounds? What would you do?
You have to, first of all, try and investigate. Does she have an underlying condition that is making her that weight? Because we blame everything. I mean, we have it ingrained in our psyche all over the world. It's global, that if you see somebody who is fat or obese or overweight, you assume that they have gotten there by overeating. There are so many conditions that get people to, weight, an extra, a very large amount of weight as a symptom to a disease, like underweight is a symptom to cancer. In